Hi Roadrunners, this is Mr. Ford, and I wanted to take a minute and tell you about some new books that I had read recently in case you might want to read them too. So the first book is this book. It's called Our Friend Hedgehog, The Story of Us, and it's a book that I would recommend for first to third graders. The story starts off, and Hedgehog has lost his best friend, Muddy, which is, we come to find out, is a stuffed animal. And so Hedgehog has to set out on a course to cross the river to find his best friend, and along the way Hedgehog makes new friends. And so one thing I really like about this book is it has really cool pictures and it has maps. I really like any book that has a map. So when we open up to the end papers, we immediately see the world that Hedgehog lives in. And so Hedgehog lives on an island in the middle of the river, and it has to cross the river to go on a mission to find Muddy after a storm blows it away one night. And so along the way, Hedgehog has lots of adventures with his new friends because they have seen Muddy, and Muddy was in the river and went to the Beaver's Lodge, and then a girl got him. And so it's a really good story about friendship and people who make friends. And I also like it because it has lots of good pictures. So again, this was Our Friend Hedgehog, and it's by Lauren Castillo, and I would recommend it for second to third grade. The next book I'm going to tell you about is called Braver, a Wombat's Tale, and I would recommend this book for grades 4th and 5th. And in this book you meet a wombat named Lola Budge, and some things I learned about wombats when I read this story. Wombats have really hard rumps to help with digging, and they're nocturnal. I learned that. They live in burrows. They eat leafy greens. That's their favorite kind of meal. And so you learn all this stuff about Lola, but Lola is not your typical wombat, because most wombats are really quiet and shy, but Lola Budge is not like that. She is talkative and likes to tell stories, and she doesn't like to do any of the things that her parents like to do, like make wooden bowls and make things. And in this story, that's how wombats, that's like their special craft, is that they make utensils and bowls and plates. And Lola doesn't like that. She really likes to tell stories. In fact, she loves telling stories. One day, she sneaks out after her parents have gone to bed in the morning. And she hears, because she had noticed that another wombat was talking to someone, but she didn't know who. And so she sneaks out during the morning, during the daytime. And this is not out of the ordinary for Lola, because Lola is not your typical wombat. And Lola runs into the mouse family, and she says, I can't talk now, I have to go on a mission. And Lola goes and she finds the platypus that this wombat was talking to, that's her neighbor. And the platypus has a secret message that he is delivering, because the platypus delivery service. And this secret message is for a wombat, and they have a secret password that they need to say. And Lola doesn't know the secret password. She's not expecting a message. She's a Joey. She's a kid wombat. But Lola has this habit of saying, hooly dooly. And so she says, oh, hooly dooly, I don't know the password. And hooly dooly is the password. So she gets the message, and it says, TB is ready. And so she doesn't know at all what this means. She doesn't know why she's gotten this message. And right as soon as she kind of is reading the message and figuring out, like, what does this mean, she hears these cries from the wombat village. And she hears her mom calling out to her, and she runs to find it. But everyone is telling her, hide, Lola, hide, Lola. And she finds out that a Tasmanian devil has rounded up all of the wombats and is taking them captive. And Lola has to figure out a way to save her family. Well, she finds her family, and they're all in cages in this train, and they're kind of not on a train, but on a cart, and they're getting taken away. And her parents tell her, hide, Lola, run, Lola, hide, Lola, run, Lola. And the last thing her mom tells her is, find your uncle. He will know what to do. Lola, up until this point, doesn't even know she has an uncle. And so she goes back to her burrow. She's searching. The Tasmanian devils and these swamp water rats have destroyed the burrow, trying to capture the wombat family. And she finds a note that says her uncle, she has two uncles, Tobias and Teddy. And her uncle Tobias is this big guy who's like an ambassador for the kingdom, who works for the queen. And her uncle Teddy is a janitor, and who like pushes mops. And so she thinks like her mom wants her to find her uncle Tobias, the person who's in a position of power. And so she has to set off to the kingdom's capital, Endor. And when she's doing that, she meets different people along the way. But one of the people that she first meets is her friend, the swamp water rat, and oh gosh, I forgot his name, Melvin. And Melvin is a swamp water rat, and he's not your typical rat. He doesn't like gross things. He doesn't like rotten food. He's very refined. And so they make a friendship, and they set off to Dor, where they find out that not everything is as it should be. There's lots of adventure in this story. Hot air balloon rides, rescuing baby penguins. There's evil when we find out that the Tasmanian devils are trying to take over the kingdom, and Queen Myra, the queen of the entire kingdom, has gone missing. So that book is called Braver, a Wombat Cell. If you like adventure stories, this is a really good one. The last book that I'm going to tell you about in this video is called The Oddmire, Book 1, The Changeling. And this is a Sequoia book this year, and if you read 3 Sequoia books, you'll be able to vote on the winner. So in The Oddmire, we meet 2 twins named Tin and Cole. But here's the thing, they were not always twins. In fact, for about 2 months, there was only one baby. And one night, a goblin sneaks into the house, and he has what is called a changeling. And a changeling takes human form and wreaks havoc on the family. And the goblin is supposed to take the human baby and give it to the fairies in exchange for things. I don't know. I don't know that part. But the goblin gets distracted when he hears a noise down the hall. And when he looks down, he does not see a changeling. He sees 2 babies that are identical. They're so identical, he doesn't know which one is the changeling and which one is the baby, so he doesn't know what to do. And he hears footsteps coming, so he rushes out the door. 11 years later, we flash forward in the book, and the 2 boys, Tin and Cole, have grown up. And they've heard this story all their lives, that one of them is a goblin, but they don't know which one. Because goblins are supposed to be really bad and do naughty things. But it turns out that a goblin is a lot like a little boy, especially 2 little boys who like to be mischievous. And so they don't know which one is the goblin. And the goblin, Krull, who put them there, he has to get the changeling back, or all of the magic in the forest and all of the goblins will die. So he writes a note to the twins and puts it on this tree that they always go to tell them to come into the forest, which is forbidden because they're magical creatures, and they need to cross the Oddmire. And so the boys set off to find this goblin so that they can save. Because if they don't find the goblins, the changeling will die and all the goblins will die, but so will the human boy. And so they set out through the forest to find them, but their mom will not have it. And their mom sets out after them. She's determined to find her boys because she doesn't care if one of them is a goblin or not. They are her boys. In this book, you see lots of adventures: goblins, witches, bears, magical fairies, so many crazy things. And it's a really good adventure story. So it's called Oddmire, Book 1, The Changeling. If you want any of these books, just go ahead and put them on hold through the Reagan Elementary Library catalog. And if you don't know how to do that, just go ahead and send me an email. Keep reading, Roadrunners.